Alrighty, everybody, we are live with session 11 of Chronicles of the Cloudsea. So really quickly, just some house rules. As per usual, I'm not going to read them up, just going to flash them on screen. Otherwise, we are ready to begin session 11 of Chronicles of the Cloudsea. So yeah, we're here with Chris, Havi, and Kami.
Yo.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Let me make sure I'm actually on the right page of the of Roll20 that I want to be on. Okay. So yeah, where we last left off, we made it to Mantle Ward, which is the Deep Gnome City in the Always Dark region. But you guys nevertheless ended up in the Hunters Guild where we're going to bring you to. They have a tavern that you guys went to sleep in. So we're going to bring you guys to your room, and we're actually going to get you guys to do some rolls right off the bat. So, we'll have Chris do a D8, Javi will do a D4, and Kami will do a D6.
Ooh, 5. This is going to be something unimportant and not battle related, I'm sure.
So wait, what am I rolling in?
D4.
I got a 2.
Okay. And Chris got a 1. Okay. So you guys drift off to sleep. And, before long, you find yourselves, well, you may be used to this by now, but you find yourselves somewhere else, starting with Norin, who wakes up and he blinks a couple of times, and then he finds himself in a cave, surrounded by a few frozen bodies. And Norin, as you blink your eyes a little bit more, you see a little bit further into the cave, and you notice there is a body of water surrounding you. And you do see specks of blood around the bodies. But yeah, otherwise you are free to investigate or do whatever you want at this point.
First thing I do is walk over to the frozen bodies and I check out what's going on with those, because those are quite suspect.
Okay, cool. So you look at the bodies frozen over. As you go from one to the other, you notice that they are UNT bodies. And inspecting a little bit closer, you see that they were actually stabbed. Similarly to the UNT, you guys, you found a UNT body outside of the caves on the way to the Mantle Ward. And as you look over to your right, you see there's even a fourth body near the water. And then peering out to the water, you notice some ripples in the center. So what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to pick up a rock and just kind of toss something in there to see if this is not just like to go wading into the water straight off the bat, but kind of see what I'm walking up into.
Okay, sweet. So you bend over to pick up a rock, and your hand phases right through it. But before long, the ripples intensify, and then a familiar creature appears outside of the water, blinking with yellow eyes. He is the sentient manta ray that you noticed, or that you met, that ferried you across the underground lake earlier in your journey. So he is hanging out in the center of this body of water. And
does he have any sort of like? Does he take any notice of me, or is he just kind of doing his own thing as he rises?
He hasn't noticed you, but as you sort of, as you're sort of staring at him, the entire area sort of, your eyes adjust, I guess, is what I want to say. And you can see the entire room. So what that looks like is kind of like this. It's an underground spring. So you do see some water features flooding into the cavern. But it does seem stable. The water level isn't rising or anything. But just before the sentient manta ray creature, you do see sort of the water almost boiling as it shoots up into the center and forms into the body of a creature. So this creature is kind of serpentine looking, but is composed completely of water. And he appears before the sentient manta ray creature. So is there anything you want to do at this point in time, or try to do?
At this point, I'm just kind of watching. Are they interacting with each other? Are they talking? Or are they just kind of going about their business?
Cool. So as this all happens, the sort of the scene stabilizes as the creature before the sentient manta ray kind of reaches the apex of its full form. It is very large, but yeah, it's basically just a serpentine water creature. And the sentient manta ray greets it in the abyssal language, which is actually a language you know. So the creature, the manta ray greets the serpentine creature.
Is my presence known yet?
Not yet. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to very, very slowly creep around and make sure my presence is not known, and try to listen to the conversation, because since I can understand them.
Sweet. So you, I guess, walk over this way, or do you want to go the other way?
Well, let's see. I'm gonna go the other way, because I really only have a body to hide under right there. So let's not do that.
Right. I guess you could hide behind these rocks if you want to do that. Okay. So you listen with your keen elven hearing, and you hear the sentient manta ray creature speak. Greetings. What word from our patron? And the creature before it answers, our master requests that you repel the forces which have caused this very inconvenient freezing about the mantle. So it seems to you they don't like that everything's freezing over, and whatever. You can posit whatever force they work for wants that to stop. You do recall that you learned from one of your companions earlier that the snow and ice and all that, since you got to the Always Dark, was probably caused by an area effect of the dragon you guys encountered. She explained that dragons can alter the area that they set up their domain in just by being present.
Yeah.
So that seems to be what's going on. And these guys don't like it. Understandably, because they live in the water. Is there anything you would like to do, like any kind of skill check or anything like that?
So the perception roll maybe to just kind of see what else I can observe around here, or
Yeah, sure.
okay. Wait, which one's that? 20?
Yep, D20 plus 7 for you.
Okay. 6. Hooray.
So yeah, you scan about the area and you do think actually, this water creature, it's made of water, and you do have knowledge of elementals. So maybe you know something about this thing.
I'm just fighting I'm fighting my inner gaming side to like cut those water balls off to make the dragon disappear and get the chest underneath it. That's like what I'm fighting myself right now. But okay, well at this point, am I aware that I'm in a dream? Well, or is this just kind of like my
No,
fully like fleshed into this?
You know what? At this point, you've had this. This is the third time you've been in a dreamscape, so you kind of
yeah. So
you kind of get
am
it.
I aware this is happening? Okay, so considering the previous encounters we had with our little foxy friend and everything else, I figure I am safe to make my presence known. Though I'm not going to do it fully and boldly and jump out and be like, "Hey, look at me!" I slowly creep around the rock and try to subtly alert my presence to both of these dudes.
So you kind of clear your throat, and you do. So the water creature doesn't really have any reaction. You do notice the other thing, it kind of twitches a little bit as you clear your throat, but otherwise doesn't seem to notice you.
Wasn't that thing like super interested in gold when we were trying to like?
Yeah, and
so
he actually helped you guys out.
Yeah, so maybe I could just like rattle some money and see if he like recognizes that sound. He seemed very keen on money last time.
Okay, so you pull out some coin out of your pocket and kind of clink it together in your hands between your fingers, very dexterously. But
yeah, kind of the little flippy thingy.
you do, you do notice the creature kind of twitches a little bit, but he doesn't seem fully aware of your presence.
So with the elemental thing, like what does that entail? Like what does that mean for me? Like is that like an understanding of language, or is this like a different aspect?
So if you kind of investigate the creature, you can find out more about it.
Okay, so would that be another perception roll or elemental roll, or
let's have you do. Just let me quickly look up your.
I will have questions for days. I've forgotten a lot of
page.
this, but
yeah, no worries. I just want to double check what the skill actually entails.
Oh, right, that secondary page.
Forgot as well.
Is that spells under spells?
For that one, no, I think it's on your core page.
Should I just ensnare them and start throwing daggers at them? My go-to.
Yeah, you know what? We'll just instead of slowing this down, I'll just take a 20 for you. So you look at the creature, kind of investigating it, and you do recall. Yeah, you think you know what this is. It is a weird. It is a water weird. So these are summoned creatures of the elemental plane of water, which are bound to a body of water. So it can't leave this cave. It's stuck here. But normally they're summoned by...
Poor Shamu.
They're summoned to either to protect an area or to act as a guardian, that sort of thing. But you can't really know the depth of where it came from or who summoned it without investigating tangentially, I guess. But as you're inspecting and coming to this conclusion, they continue their conversation. The water weird speaks. Our patron wishes for you to use the gifts bestowed upon your people to walk the land and find a cure for this this frozen nightmare we find ourselves in. And with that, the creature sort of submerges, the manta ray creature rather, sort of submerges, disappearing. And you do see some shadows shifting beneath the surface of the water as a splash erupts and a humanoid, fishy-looking creature appears.
Zora!
And then he sort of swims over to the shore. And standing there, his ears kind of twitch a little bit. And you think maybe if you wanted to get his attention, you might be able to.
Let's see. I try to greet this person in the abyssal language, just to kind of go with the flow of things.
So you greet him in the abyssal language, which is kind of like abrupt shouting.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And his ears perk up as he twists around and looks you dead in the eye, and he sort of smirks. And you feel like he remembers you by sort of the look of familiarity on his face. So he responds in the abyssal language. Greetings, Wood Elf.
Hello, greetings. Where are we? Where is this cave? This is the second time I've woken up somewhere. What is this place?
He sort of looks at you with a bit of a head tilt before nodding, like he's kind of squinting at you. Yes, this is this is an underground sea cave, part of the domain that my people have claimed. The Ixen people, who claim all swaths of oceanic depth within the mantle. So not very revealing.
Okay. So yeah, it's still guarded and just kind of asking. Like, okay, well, what were you doing under the water there?
Well, my people are of the water, and he kind of looks down at his legs. Well, I was gifted this form, and I simply assumed it. Albeit this is the first time I have taken this form.
Considering that you're water-based, why are you leaving the land? Where are you headed to?
He sort of squints a little bit before nodding again. He's like, yes, I think it's safe to tell you. I simply wish to find the cause of all of this ice and sub-zero temperatures and bring an end to it.
Taking a moment to pause and think about it for a second. Is that thing a dragon over there, or is that just a bit different thing? It looks very dragon-like to me.
Yeah, it's not a dragon. It's pretty much like a stream of water ending in like a serpent head.
That's so cool. Okay. Well, considering that this is a dream realm and I am...
all of a sudden he interrupts you. Dream world? And then he looks at you a little bit closer. He's like, yes.
So you can read my mind, can you?
Oh, I thought you were saying that out loud.
Well, knowing me, I do talk out loud, so let's just go with it.
So he sort of looks at you, and he responds, I suppose that explains why I can see through you.
I feel like water like myself. Like then I took a moment to look down. I didn't really dawn on me that I was also apparently transparent. And it was like, it's kind of like I kind of laughed to myself. I mean, nothing big, but just like that's interesting. But um. So I guess so I asked him, like, so obviously I'm not from this place. I woke up here. Is this the same for you, or are you from here, or is this your actual home?
He sort of shakes his head. There are many ways I must answer this. First of all, friend, I am not dreaming. I am not asleep. This is my waking hour. Secondly, I do not come from this realm. I appeared here several days ago, along with my people.
So thinking about just like at this point, I'm maybe a little bit too trusting, but I was starting to just not feel threatened in this situation, and I bring up the entire aspect of the dragon coming through and causing things cold, and that could be the source of all this, if not more. But um, actually, going outside of speaking, were dragons rare? Were they coming back out of nowhere, or are they common? I forgot.
They are rare. As far as you know, that's the first dragon sighting ever on the Cloudsea.
Is this like a Skyrim situation where they start showing up out of nowhere?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like even the
Okay.
baby dragons, like that's very unusual.
Well, I'm going to be very open, but I'm keeping our baby dragon baby to ourselves. No one's going to find out about the precious baby dragon. So I start telling this guy about. Well, actually, first of all, what is your name?
My name is Eberron.
Alex Aaron. I'm Norn. So in full transparency, I chuckle because I'm transparent. Anyway, I bring up and tell about the dragon, the coming of the dragons, and the complete blizzard we had to fight through, and what we went through, and not in full detail, but at least about the dragons and the snow and the ice.
Dragons. He has a concerned look on his face. This explains everything. Dragons, well, they have effects on their surroundings, so that explains this situation with the ice and sub-zero temperatures.
I start trying to. Has this happened before? Is this in this realm? Or are they known? Are they present? This is new to the Cloudsea, but is this considered the Cloudsea? What is this?
He sort of tilts his head. Cloudsea?
That answers everything for Nord right there. Sorry, never mind. That's where I'm from. I kind of jerk my head over to the water creature. And can you tell me more a little about this guy? Does he have anything to add to this? Does he know anything about this?
Well, yes, this creature here, well, he was summoned by the being who brought me and my people to this realm.
Which being would that be?
Our patron.
Who is?
It's sort of a mystery, but, well, we didn't actually see him face to face, but he saved our lives.
And when did this take place? So how long ago was this?
Many nights ago, we were in we were in our own realm when, we were sort of in an undersea community that was unfortunately caved in, and we were stuck, unable to find ourselves out of the cave system. We would have certainly starved to death if, well, the shadow of my patron, whom, admittedly, I do not know the identity of, appeared before me. And this shadow, well, he promised that if I and whomever of my people swore loyalty to he would bring us to a new domain. A domain which he intended to claim for himself, and he would furthermore give us the gift of the ability to walk on land. And then he gestures to his feet. Well, he is, so far, fulfilled everything he's promised.
Loyalty, eh? Then, has he asked anything else? That I kind of glance over. I'm like, anything to do with those bodies over there?
He looks over at the bodies. Nay, nothing to do with them. Those bodies, I suspect they were killed by servants of another master.
I probably should have done this earlier, but I should use it. Can I use a nature check to kind of see if the plants or anything kind of saw what the fuck happened to those guys? Because that blood looks pretty fresh.
Just a reminder, plants don't have eyes.
They can feel it. They
Okay.
be very observant plants.
So if they felt anything?
Yeah.
All right. So which plants do you want to talk to?
All of them. Well, let's see. I like this little white one over here on the little yellow one on the right side. Got a nice view. It has a nice view of everything.
Like the one down here?
Yeah, exactly that one.
Okay. So do you want to swim over there or what?
I'll walk. It's pretty cold, man.
Okay.
And I also want to speak to the Dragonborn too. So like, I'll be like, give me one moment, and then I walk over because I also want to speak to the water thing too.
Okay. So you enter your plant speak trance, basically, and you try to communicate with the plant, but actually it doesn't seem to acknowledge your presence. So Ilexaruan comes over. I suspect you can only communicate with beings of certain intellectual depth while you are in your current state.
I suppose so. So then I look over. I just try to do a respectful, considering the size of that thing and the elemental aspect of it. I try to do some sort of respectful greeting. Hello, I am Norn Shadowbrook.
Ilexaruan
Konnichiwa.
looks between you and the creature, kind of waiting for a response, which doesn't come. So then he clears his throat and speaks in the abyssal language to the water weird. There is another among us who wishes to speak to you. You hear the creature respond, "What foolish games are this?"
Foolish game. I speak in the abyssal language back. No foolish games. I woke up here and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what is going on here. This was not my choosing. I seem to be chosen to come here.
So as you speak and say your bit, the creature pays you no attention and is just continuing to look at Ilexaruan with a blank stare. So Ilexaruan turns to you and speaks. He cannot sense you.
Can you speak for me?
Yes, what do you wish to ask?
Reiterate what I just said back to him.
So he reiterates, and the creature sort of does the water version of scoffing, like
Little bubbles.
Yeah. Chosen, the only you have been chosen by, Ilexaruan, is our master. And Ilexaruan responds, No. The being among us, the one you cannot see. And the creature sort of blows bubbles again. Like, what trickery is this?
Realized it's an elemental. What if I decided, like, 1 second, and then what if I step in the water? It would see if that can sort of sense me better than being on the land.
So as you attempt to step in the water,
It's fucking cold a bit.
you actually find that you can stand on the water.
Well, shit. Okay. So is that the only thing I'm like interacting with outside of normal bounds? Is the rest like normal? Is it just the water?
So you inspect under your feet, and as you start stamping on the water and jumping around, stamping your left and right foot independently, and the water doesn't ripple when you step on it, but you can stand on it as if it's a solid.
Yeah.
So it's not interacting with you either, but you are able to stand on it.
Then I asked I tell him to tell him what I told him about the dragons and see what this creature's response to that is.
So Alex Arwen repeats your message, and the creature just sort of blows bubbles again. I know nothing about dragons. And Alex Arwen responds to you. These creatures have a very limited intellect. Their knowledge is limited only to the commands which are given by its summoner.
And who is the summoner?
My mysterious patron deity.
Is he supposed to come back anytime soon? Is there a schedule? When was the last time you saw him? Is there a schedule?
Need I remind you, I have not seen him personally, only his shadow.
His shadow?
And since arriving in this land, this Cloudsea, you called it? Since
Yes.
arriving here, I must admit I have not communicated with the patron, only through this vessel, the water weird.
Can you try to contact him now? Is there any way to approach, or do you just have to wait for some sort of word, or can you try to contact him yourself?
So Alex Arwen turns to the water weird and asks, would it be possible if I could speak directly to the patron?
And what do you know about Benson? I'm just kidding.
The water weird blows bubbles again. You may not communicate with the master until the master's time of choosing.
I try to be a little bit adamant on this one. I'm starting to go. Clearly, I'm here for a reason. I'm like, come on now. Like,
so as you get flustered and start kind of trying to reason with the water weird, you're like, oh shit. You kind of remind yourself that you can't interact directly with it. You turn to Alex Arwen, who actually you notice he's struggling to see you as he's kind of like looking at the spot where you were and is waving his hands through it. And everything starts to fade to white as you seem to have finished your dream. So, Sige, you sort of come to in a familiar setting. It's the entryway to your master's workshop, which you haven't been to in a very long time. So when you left your master's workshop all those years ago, you didn't know much about the outside world, and you were never able to find your way back to the workshop because it was just too much all at once. But nevertheless, you find yourself there, and aside from everything being dusty, it looks just as you left it. So with that in mind, you find yourself in a room full of destroyed furniture, ripped up carpet, trinkets, and all sorts of stuff, showing the wear of time. Is there anything you would like to do?
being that Norin just woke up from a dream, I have to use the washroom.
Okay. Oh, wait. I actually have music for you, too. I have music for all your dreams independently.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, it's like so true. I don't know where the music's coming from. I've never been seen so much. So I guess with a passive perception of 10, like what do like I just initially see?
Yeah, you just look around and you're like, well, everything looks the way I left it.
Oh god.
It's like home sweet home. It's good to be back. As you look around, you do notice like, some of these trinkets I never noticed till now, but they're kind of weird. Like, there seems to be a human skull on one of the shelves. You do notice a map of the Cloudsea on the destroyed coffee table, I guess.
Okay, I'm taking that.
So it's a map of the Cloudsea, and as you reach out to grab it, your hands go right through it. But investigating the map, you do see a few of the islands on the Cloudsea are circled. So you take a quick mental snapshot of the map, and you see one of the areas that's circled is the Azamar Island, called the Shimmering Isle, which is it's all written in Gnomish, but you can read Gnomish. Another area that is circled is the Horns region, and there's an arrow from that, and next to it is the text saying Mantle Ward. And then just over there, just to the left of that on the map, you see in the Gnomish language the Isle of Windswept, and that is also circled. So the 3 islands that are circled, 2 of them are actually the only islands you've been to.
All right. I'd like to do a perception check to see if there's anything that just looks way too freaking weird.
Yeah, sure. So roll perception.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do the D20. I'm not gonna click on the actual thing because I don't know if. Oh, great.
And sorry, what was your modifier? It was 0?
It's 0. It's 0.
Okay. Yeah, you take a look around and you're like, man, this place could use some dusting, but
Yeah.
but otherwise it's good to be back.
Yeah.
But you do notice the door to the next room, or the entryway to the next room to your right.
Yeah, I think are there actual books in like that little crate over there? Do those things seem important?
Like the one in the top right corner, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go over there, you start flipping through the books, or actually you try to grab them and you can't. Your hand phases through them. But you look at the titles on the side of the books. They seem to be concerned with alchemy, spellcrafting, artificery, lots of deep subjects like that. And you do recall reading a lot of those books back in the day, but you couldn't make heads or tails of them. But I guess on the way to the bookshelf, you did notice a bunch of weird vials on one of the broken tables as well.
A broken vial?
A bunch of, actually they're not broken, but they're sitting on one of the broken tables in like a vial rack. So right here.
Are they like that color or are they different?
They are all that color. Like
Ah.
one is glowing green, one is pink, and one is gray.
I'm gonna make a mental note of that. And then I'm gonna move into the next room.
Okay, so you go into the next room, and yeah, it's the familiar study area where your master kept most of his books. There's a bunch of books strewn out over the table, as well as some large pieces of cogs, large cogs rather, and across the way is the staircase leading to the second floor. And you do see in the corner the pile of junk you used to sleep on, and that was also where you had a big pile of rocks that you fueled yourself for years, but the pile is gone, which you do recall is the reason you decided to venture out of the workshop finally.
So I don't have a bed.
You do not have a bed anymore. You ate your bed.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Do any of the books look intriguing?
So as you look over the books, you try to grab them again, and your hand phases right through them. You do notice next to one of the books is a human brain, which you did realize it was a human brain back in the day, but you didn't. Prior to your experiences in the outside world, it had never occurred to you that it was strange that he would have one sitting on his table. But you do notice one of the books that's left open has some interesting things to read on top of it, or on the pages. So you quickly scan over that, and there's all this talk about eggs, and dragon eggs specifically, and how if you acquire a dragon egg, you can... if you acquire a dragon egg and manage to hatch it, the hatchling will sort of form a parental bond with you. And it goes into great depths about that. But generally, it's just like a how-to on raising a baby dragon.
Awesome. I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay. So you walk up the stairs into your master's bedroom, so to speak. It is his workshop, so it's not like a home bedroom, but there is a bed which has been destroyed by time. And you do see, actually, he was a man of all trades, so you do see his arts station as well as his main work desk in the far corner.
I'm gonna shuffle through all like his books and his notes.
Okay, so you first you look at this chest over here, and it's again, you can't lift any of the books up, unfortunately, but you do see they seem to be you do see that they're kind of like home books, I guess, in such a way that the pages don't align to the bindings. And you do see actually lots of charcoal and stuff lying around, and you intuit, oh, these are his sketchbooks. So you realize that's probably not too important, but a little interesting, because you never, until you left for the outside world, you never really had an appreciation for art. But now you sort of see that art might be important. So you make your way over to his work desk, and there's a bunch of rolled up scrolls in a vase. And as you realizing you probably can't pick those up either, you do try to pick them up, and your hand phases through them, but you do sort of peek down the center of them to see what you can make out of them. And they do seem to be maps that are bound, rolled up and bound, but you can't unroll them, unfortunately. So you turn your head to the big book on his desk, which is open to a page that is bookmarked. And basically, you read through it, and basically you get the gist that, well, it talks about how to corrupt a dragon egg from a dragon that's naturally aligned to good, which is curious and also a little troubling. So I guess as you scan through the book a little bit more, there's talk about blood sacrifices and covering the egg in the blood of naturally aligned good creatures who have been tortured and killed. And,
excuse me?
And it sounds a little creepy, actually. I guess you wonder why your master would be reading these sorts of materials. But nevertheless, would you like to explore any more of the workshop?
I guess that's it.
Okay. So you walk around sort of aimlessly, and before long, the scene around you sort of fades to white as you wake from your dream, and we go to Caitlin's dream.
Oh boy.
So Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin.
So Caitlin, you awake. You find yourself, first of all, you wake up and you blink a couple times, and everything seems really low to the ground, but you see that you're sort of in an area that the ground is wooden, and as you look to your left, you see the capybara Dixie, who looks back at you, and I guess you sort of know their face doesn't change, but you sort of know intuitively, for some reason, that they're smiling at you. And then you start to wiggle your nose and sniff around, and you smell sulfur. So what would you like to do at this point in time?
So I'm low to the ground, and is the capybara on eye level with me, or
the capybara is on eye level with you?
Okay, and I kind of look around to see if I can find a reflective surface to see what I look like exactly, because I'm getting the feeling that I'm not in human mode, but maybe in wolf mode.
So you start to scan your surroundings, and you see there's a column jutting out of the wood surface, and there is sort of a tarnished metal wrapping around it.
Okay.
And as you kind of peer into it, you find a few breaks in the tarnished surface, and you see a capybara looking back from where you're looking.
Hey, I'm a capybara?
Dixie, you hear Dixie chuckle next to you. Yes, you are a capybara, just like me.
Oh, this is a rather new experience for me. I've only ever in the form of a wolf before. I didn't know I could turn into other animals as well.
Oh, so you're a capybara and a wolf?
I suppose so. Gosh, I'm adorable.
Just as adorable as me, but I have one question. What's a wolf?
You know what? You don't need to worry about that. They're pretty big and they got a lot of teeth and stuff like that. But you don't need to know about that. I'd say.
Big and a lot of teeth. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess if I don't need to know about it, I don't need to worry.
You know what? Just stay in the city and enjoy your life and try not to think about that. I look around. So am I in the inn or where exactly am I?
You look around, it doesn't seem like any place you've ever been. The wood floor beneath your feet it almost seems scorched, and the walls are painted a deep red. But the walls are also mostly made of wood, but there is some black metal paneling, not paneling, but I guess like almost like rebar, like just reinforcing the inside of the structure. And it is a very angular structure that you find yourself inside.
I look back at the capybara and yeah. Where are we exactly?
Oh, well, sometimes it's kind of weird, but sometimes I find myself being whisked away to somewhere I've never been before, and it always happens when I'm sleeping. So I can't tell you. I've never been here before, but well, I do know. No matter where I've gone when this happens, I always seem to be, for the most part, pretty safe.
Good. That's nice.
Like, usually when this happens, nobody can see or hear or talk to me, and I can't interact with anything. But usually, sometimes somebody can see me, but they're always very friendly.
That's comforting, I suppose. Well, I'm gonna start taking a look around, and you know what? You can hang tight here if you'd like, or you can come with me. Entirely your choice. I suppose I'm gonna start looking around and trying to find like a door or a passageway, just see what this place is and why I might be here exactly.
Okay, so you look over to the south and you do see there's two staircases leading up, but otherwise there's a passage between them and also a passage to either side, or an opening, I should say. And the room is also very poorly lit.
Okay. A passageway to either side, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, well, with no further clues on where to go, I'm going to go to the left first.
Okay. So you go to the left, and the other capybara follows you. As you peer around the corner, you see the passage opens up beyond the stairway or staircase, and you sort of make out the corner of a wood structure. It's sort of like there's a wood wall with metal brackets holding I guess, wood slats or wood beams that are linked together in a grid-like pattern. So as you step out a little bit further, you recognize the pattern to be a wood cage, and you see somebody inside it.
Who is it?
As you peer, you actually recognize this to be one of the villagers from Windswept Isle.
Okay.
And you recognize her as Bella, who's actually the same age as your sister Jalissa.
Hey. So teenager, got it. Right, so I'm gonna run over to her, and I'm gonna reach out with my telepathic ability. Or no, first I'm gonna run over to the bars of the cage and kind of like peer in at her and try to get her attention.
Okay, so you sort of rustle your head through the cage. You are smaller than your normal form a little bit, but capybaras are pretty big, so you're not able to squeeze through the bars, but you can kind of get your head through. And she looks over at you, sort of startled, and she, I wouldn't say she recognizes you, but she, it's clear that she notices you're there almost immediately. And she sort of scurries back. What trickery is this?
And then I speak to her with my telepathy saying, Bella, it's me, it's Caitlin, back from Wimsup Village.
You sort of see her a little bit confused for a moment, and then she...
I know this is weird, but go with me on this. Look, I've developed magical abilities. I've been trying to follow after the ship that took everybody. I've been trying to find you folks, and for some reason I'm a capybara right now.
So she looks around and sort of slowly makes her way back to the corner. Magical abilities? So
look.
So wait, can you go other places in your sleep?
Yeah, it's something that's been happening to me recently. How about you?
It's been happening my whole life, but I always feared of telling other people about it.
I'll tell you what, Bellet, you can tell me as much as you like. Listen, tell you what, ask me any question you want. I will respond with something only Caitlin would know, okay?
She nods. Of your eldest 3 siblings, eldest 3 siblings, which one was born first?
Just a sec. I gotta find my list
Jason.
of siblings right now because
Jason.
that'd be Jason. He was the first one to arrive. After Jason, then it came Jalissa and Dalton.
Yes, that... Yes, you must be Caitlin. Everyone would always assume Dalton to be the oldest and Jason the youngest.
Because of their size, but yeah, Jason came out first, Dalton came out last. It was a bit of irony, I know. Look, is there anybody else here from Windswept with you? Where are you right now? What can you tell me?
Well, I was captured in Windswept and brought aboard this brig, along with a bunch of other villagers. There are a few more just... She gestures, I guess, in the same direction you were walking towards on the way to get her. Well, there's more villagers just down the way. Actually, I think Jalissa and one of your younger siblings, ashamed to say I don't know her name.
Just a sec. I have found the list. I'm just gonna look through it just to be sure.
That one would be
here.
Ashlyn, yep.
Tiny and adorable. Yes, she's here too. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Ashlyn. She's over 2 cages down.
Okay. She's down that way. And I sort of gesture with my head.
Yes.
Okay, listen, Bella, there are a bunch of us that are coming to rescue you, so hold tight. We're going to get you out of here and back to Windswept as soon as we can, okay?
That's marvelous, but, well, all of a sudden she's cut off. Quiet down over there. And a big lumbering devil, devil kind of waddles over. And she scurries into the corner as it kind of laughs.
I have to hide?
I guess you're a little caught off guard, but you're sort of startled and caught off guard, but he actually phases right through you as he tries to squeeze between the staircase and the cage, but he can't seem to make it. As he phases through you, you get a little bit of a sickly feeling.
So he like phases through me and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Okay, so
he doesn't seem to be aware of you.
Okay, because this is brand new for Caitlin, she's just going to freeze completely still as he phases through her because she doesn't want to do anything that attracts his attention. Like she's just, in fight or flight mode. She's just pure freeze right now. So after he reaches through and presumably, what does he do after that?
So yeah, he's trying to squeeze through that area, but he's a little bit too chunky to get through. So he just starts yelling at her. Settle down in there. You'll be the next to go upstairs.
Okay. And I stay quiet and I wait for him to leave.
Yeah. So he's like, his energy's kind of spent. You do recall you fought one of these guys a few days earlier. They were a big, lumbering, blobbish sort of devil person. But Virgil was able to dispatch one quite easily on his own. But you're not too sure how you would do in capybara form. Nevertheless, he sort of goes back to an idle guard sort of position. So with all that in mind, you return to the thought of your 2 siblings being 2 cages down.
So is Bella still there, or like is she watching me, or?
Oh yeah, she's looking at you, and she's nervous, kind of shivering in the corner, and she just puts up a single finger to her lips and purses her lips, sort of in a shushing motion.
I nod at her at this, and I try to give her as much of a comforting look as I can as a capybara before moving on to look for my sister.
Okay. So you make your way past the larger devil dude, and you do see there's actually another gross slug-looking devil on the other side of the cage Bella's in, which doesn't seem to have been disturbed. But as you look further down the passageway, you do see 2 more villagers, unremarkable villagers in the next cage.
Huh?
And Dixie kind of comes up to you. That friend of yours, Bella, it's quite rare for a human to be able to see us when we're in this form. And she kind of looks at the 2 villagers in the cage. I reckon they wouldn't be aware of our...
So Bella... right. Bella did say that she's been doing this since she was little, since she was born, so it makes sense that she's kind of an exception to the rule then.
And you just see Dixie nod knowingly.
Well then, I guess we don't have to worry too much about being careful, but still, I'd rather try to be a bit cautious because we don't know if anything else can sense us the way Bella did.
Yeah. I suggest we just keep going before your time here runs out.
Or I wake up. Yeah. Okay, let's move quick and quiet. And
Okay.
yeah, we're just gonna keep looking with as much haste, carefully, as carefully but as quickly as possible.
Okay. So you make your way to the next cage, and you see immediately Jalissa and Ashlyn are in the cage, along with a
Aw.
Cloudforged, and you scan the surrounding area, and you do see another slug devil, as well as you did fight, or you did see one of the adventurers dispatch a tough devil with a big beard that had chains dangling off of it in the city, in Windswept, and you see another devil that looks like that. And he's sort of standing guard.
Okay, does it look like anybody here can see me?
As you look around, you don't... I guess we'll say you kind of stamp your feet a little bit, just to see if anything can hear you, and nothing seems to be reacting, and you do even notice that when you stamp your feet, you can't even hear any sound come out where you stand.
Right. So I head over to the edge of the cage and I just peer in at both my siblings and just, I've been worried sick about them, so seeing them alive is a huge. So, yeah, I'll just look at them anxiously and see if there's a way to get into the cage.
Okay, so you kind of similarly to when you tried to get through the cage that Bella was in, you try to squeeze into the space between the bars, but you can't quite fit. You kind of get your head in, but beyond your neck, you are stuck, for lack of a better term. But as you're kind of wrestling, trying to get through, you do notice Jalitza's head kind of twitches a little bit, and you see kind of goosebumps on her arm hair.
I peer a bit closely at this and just see, maybe I look around and see, I guess I'll try to figure out what that reaction was to, like an insight check, perception check, anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll some insight.
Okay, cool.
Oh. So yeah, you intuit that the reaction happened as soon as you made noise. Like you were kind of squeaking almost trying to get in, and it was as if her reaction came in time with you squeaking.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. You cut out for a moment.
Okay. It's so you intuit that her reaction kind of came in tune with you squeaking as you were struggling to get through the bars.
Melissa, can you hear me?
You sort of see her, she kind of perks up and she looks in your direction, but it's as if she's looking right through you.
Jalissa, it's me. Hear me? It's Caitlin, sister.
She sort of tilts her head a little bit, squinting, and she whispers a little bit to herself. Is that Caitlin?
Keep your voice down. We don't want guards to hear us, but look, this is magic, and I've developed some abilities, and look, I'm coming to get you and Ashlyn and everybody else here, and we're going to get you home, okay?
So as you're pleading your case to Jalissa, she just sort of still seems like she's looking right through you, and she sort of peers, squinting, and she just finally shakes her head and speaks aloud. My mind must be playing tricks on me.
For crying out loud, Jalissa, you're smarter than that, and you know it, young lady.
And almost in time with your outburst, the devilish creature that's standing guard comes over and rattles the cage. Hey, settle down in there. And she sort of scurries back. The devil's eyes sort of glow red, and he's like, actually, I think it's time we move the lot of you upstairs. And Jalissa has an outburst. No, anything but that. So yeah, you at the devil's behest, rather, the other devils kind of make their way over, and you see them sort of maneuvering to unlock the door to the cage. But they're all surrounding the cage, nevertheless. And as this is all unfolding, Jalissa and Ashlyn scurry to the back as the Cloudforge bursts forward and busts through the door just in time as they're opening it. He actually throws a haymaker on one of these slug demons who flies against the wall, impacting the wall with a thud and collapsing, sort of twitching. And finally, the devil who seems to be in charge rushes forward, pulling a spiked chain from his waist and striking at the Cloudforged. The chain goes right through his chest, piercing through his chest to the other side. And the Cloudforge sort of blinks as the glow in his eyes go dull, and he collapses to the floor, lifeless.
Hey. Excuse me. As soon as fighting breaks out, I am going to charge the devils. Like, probably going to go right through them ethereally, knowing I can't affect the situation, but just desperately trying to do anything to help.
So yeah, you try to rush the one that did the attacking, and you phase right through. You sort of try to gnaw at his ankles with your big sharp teeth, but
my big rodent teeth.
Yeah, they actually don't accomplish anything. The devil in charge kind of grabs the Cloudforge by the wrist and tosses him out of the way. And he yells over at the bigger blobby guy, "You there! Forfeit your soul and assume the body of that Cloudforged, or of that construct." And the big guy sort of drags the Cloudforge away. And you're like, oh, that's fucking weird.
Like, Caitlin has no idea what this means. I do out of character, and it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Caitlin knows it can't be anything good.
Yeah. So the devil guy with the beard goes over to your sisters, who are now huddling as far into the cage as they can. Jalissa kind of realizes what's going on and steps before Ashlyn to sort of protect her, so to speak. Okay. The devil laughs. He's like, fine, I'll just take you. And he binds her in a chain and starts dragging her off behind him as she's kicking against the floorboards.
I am running after them, just trying to do anything to keep up or to try and get her out of his grip.
Okay, so they make their way up the staircase, and you follow behind with Dixie right behind you, and you get to the next floor. So as you get to the next floor, you still can't interact with them, but you see the devils kind of dragging her around the next staircase. Where you follow, and you see there's a few Azur, and one of them is really big. He has a very muscled bronze body, but he looks scary. And he's covered in flame. So you brought the next human. The devil just nods. Anything you'd like to try at this point?
I am looking around this place desperately, like just trying to get an idea of where we are or what exactly is happening here.
Okay, so you sort of run into the midst of everything, being careful not to phase through anybody because you don't really know what's going on right now. But you notice there's some cannons looking out into the open air through, I guess, openings in the side of the structure. So you sneak over there and you look out and you realize you're on an airship looking out over the Cloudsea.
Boy.
You intuit naturally that you are not in the always dark because it is day. It is daylight. So you're somewhere else in the Cloudsea. Just behind you, you also notice there's some humans who are in very tight cages surrounded with really long spikes on the inside, and they're kind of like forced to stand or else get jabbed by the spikes.
So, looking around, do I see any? If we are on the Cloudsea, do I see any details in the environment or our surroundings that would tell me where we are?
So as you look out through the opening you're currently looking out, you don't really see anything per se here, but you do try to look past the cannons, and you do see there is a land mass sort of behind you. And as you go over to the other side of the farthest cannon, you see that the landmass you're moving away from is the peaks of the horns from the Always Dark. Then, do you want to run to the other side and check the cannons on that side as well?
Absolutely, that sounds great.
Okay. So you run over there, and as you look out the farthest side, in the distance, you can see an island with windmills, and you intuit that that's windswept. You try your best to peer out the other side of the furthermost opening, but you can sort of make out the edge of a landmass, but you can't 100% tell which one it is. But I guess, actually, let's have you do an insight check again.
Sure. Natural 20.
Sweet. So you intuit, okay, so on this side of the ship is windswept. On the other side is the horns. So by triangulating the third landmass, you realize that the one you're heading towards is the Shimmering Island, which is the home of the Azamar.
Okay. So I know where they're going, or where they are.
Yeah, where they're headed towards.
Oh, baby, that's exactly what I needed. Hey. Looking around, so now that I know where they are, what is happening right now?
So you start to pay attention to what the people in here are doing, and you see that the bearded devil, has kind of handed Jalissa over to the big dude. And as he does so, he says, "There you are, Captain. I'm gonna head back to my people below." And yeah, he sort of does that. And the big guy, who you now know as the captain, sort of shakes his hand. And with a sigh is just like, ugh, devils. Can't stand them. And he starts dragging Jalissa off to down the center between the caged people. There we go.
Wherever my sister goes, I follow.
Okay. So you're following, and you get over to this area, not with that guy. You get over to this area, and you see that there is a skiff, an infernal skiff. Ugh, damn it. I did not want to do that. There's an infernal skiff boarded onto this level of the ship, and he throws Jalissa into the back of it. And one of the other Azur sort of takes up the helm as the captain is like, okay, take her below. And you see the skiff sort of unlink from where it's being held to the brig, and it starts to release from the ship and fly. It begins to fly away, basically.
Oh God! So yeah, all I can do is watch helplessly as this skiff carrying my sister is headed off in which direction?
It's going out the left side, and as it does so, it sort of turns in the direction of the Shimmering Isle, going in the same direction you guys are going on this ship, but at a faster speed.
Okay. Yeah, all I can do is just watch, I suppose. Like, there's nothing else I can do right now.
Yeah. Would Caitlin be, like, screaming at the top of her lungs or something at this point in time?
Basically, yeah, I would be just... Jalissa, hold on! I promise we're gonna find you, okay? We're gonna be there! We're gonna find you! We're gonna get you home! Just hang in there, sweetie!
Dixie kind of runs over and she's like, careful! And you just look at Dixie, sort of like, why would you say that? You said nobody could interact with us earlier. That's sort of what you're thinking. So Dixie gestures with a head nod back towards the captain, who you now see is looking in your direction. He's sort of looking through you the same way Jalissa was earlier.
He sensed me.
Yeah, he seems to be... he seems to know of your presence, but he can't quite see you. But nevertheless, he walks over, and as he does so, he pulls out a big broadsword, which he can wield one-handed with no problem. And the thing lights a flame as he pulls it out. And he sort of gestures it in your general direction, but it's clear that he doesn't really see you. But I guess you take it to be a bit of a warning. And finally, as the tension sort of intensifies, your surroundings sort of start to fade to white.
Okay. I know that I'm coming out of the dream.
As the scene disappears, so to speak. So the lot of you, the party, you come to, and you are not where you fell asleep. You are in a tavern that you've never been to before. Caitlin, you're back in human form. Norin, you're standing beside her, and Sid, you are standing beside him.
Been a while since I've woken up in a tavern.
But yeah, you're sort of in this really nice, fancy-looking tavern. And as you guys look around, you see Audie and Virgil are sitting at the bar.
Audie? Did you say Audie?
I said Audie.
Oy, okay. So, okay.
Also,
I need to get. I'm sorry.
it's okay. Just I'm looking around, and Void,
something-
if I could, of all of the details that I can't help but notice in this tavern,
Yes.
is there a giant dragon in here with us?
So, as you turn your head, you all notice something out of your peripheral. As you turn your head, turn your head, you see there's a dragon sleeping on the floor next to the fireplace. And there's just actually people you met before you notice as well. Devlin the Duergar playing a grand piano. Luna the bard is playing her lute next to him. And Shelek the wizard who is an expert on dragons is singing. And you're just kind of like, what the F is going on?
This is just like someone hit shuffle on all the things we have in our thing so far. I look side to side, but is that a dragon?
But that's a dragon. I'm feeling a little shell shocked because of everything that I just saw. So yeah, like I literally don't know where to start. Like I look around at the two of you and I'm just okay. I just had a dream and I've got some really important news. I know where everybody is. Everyone that we're following, my sisters and the other folks from Windswept, I know where they are.
I turn with go like tell us about this. I had a dream as well, but it was more vague and non-descriptive. We can get to that later. Tell me what you know.
Okay, so I tell him about the location on the Cloudsea, that they're on a large boat that is in between Windswept and the Horns, like near the Samar Island, and that from the looks of things, that is where they are right now, and that seems to be where they have most of the captives.
I recount what the small details that I went through, the rather descriptive and a no answers, more questions. Kind of like nothing was answered. We just have more questions now for my story. But then I just turned to look Sage.
My dream was uneventful.
All right then.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do first? Do you want to dragon or no? I can't seem to get my mind off of this right now.
Let's figure out where we are, why we're here, and what the dragon's here for, and then we'll figure out what to do next. How's that sound?
Yeah. And what happened to Benson? Never mind.
In D&D.
So we just kind of woke up here, yeah, outside of where we were before. I don't remember where we were before.
You guys were at the inn in the Hunters Guild, and this is not that inn.
I want to do a perception check and just scan everything around us before we start making any impulsive movements.
So yeah, we'll just say you can take 20.
Let's be realistic. It would be a 5.
So you look around, you do see the barkeep is one of the UNT you met earlier on the surface, who helped you in the fight against the blue baby dragons. His name was Sesher. But yeah, he's just barkeeping, basically. The white dragon's sleeping next to the fireplace, and these three down here are singing. Nobody seems to be upset that there's a dragon, but you do see Audie and Virgil are kind of talking amongst each other, and then Virgil sort of peers you guys out of the corner of your eyes and waves you over.
I also just sort of like thwap the chair next to me, and then kind of look at it and nod. Like I'm just seeing if like I can interact with physical material again.
So you thwap the chair and it knocks over and makes a big big rattling sound against the ground. So yeah, you can knock it over. The only people who really seem to react to it are Audie and Virgil, though, who are just kind of look at you with a confused face.
I look up. I say "Dream World," and they both seem to understand.
Yeah.
Should we head over to the barkeep?
Okay, so you guys head over there. As you approach, Sesher walks closer to the bar and he's like, "Hey guys, have a seat. I got the best mushroom brews around."
Is that why we're seeing a dragon?
Dragon? Oh yeah, well, no, he's a patron too, but he's had a little too much.
Excuse me, patron?
Yeah. We
He's drunk?
No, shrooms, dude. Girl dude. Shrooms, my girl dude.
Okay,
Well, right?
this may seem like a strange question, but did you come to work? Is this normal for you?
Normal? Well, I've always been into shrooms.
Norin, realizing that everyone seems to be on some sort of substance, just quickly stops the line of questions.
Audie sort of looks over. It's clear that we're all in a dream realm. I can't make heads or tails about the other folks here, except, that they're here. I don't know if they're dreaming, or if we're dreaming and seeing them, or what have you.
Wait, we're in another dream right now?
Audie nods. Well, if you doubt it, just look out the window.
I look out the window.
You look out the window, and it's completely white. Just a white void.
Oh god, that sounds terrible. You seem rather calm about this, Audie. Do you know where we are?
She sort of shrugs. Before she nods a little bit. Well, I don't know specifically where we are, but the make of the furniture, I do recognize this style of furniture from the Yuan Ti city of Eshelsestu from my times visiting there many years ago.
You seem rather calm about this white void we're living in, and no mention of this dragon over there. Well, this is just odd, is it not?
Friend, have not our dreams been odd as of late?
It was a capybara in my last one.
and Norin, Sige, as well as Audie and Virgil just sort of do a slow look over at you. You were a capybara?
Look, I'm gonna be real with you. My life has been real fucking weird over the last few weeks.
Well, so I'm like, yes, that it has been. But this is the first time we've gone a full Inception, a dream within a dream.
This is a first for me too. I'll say that. It's Inception.
Someone should make a movie about this. So
That's a movie.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's. So that actually, speaking of which, well, I guess after the previous, this would be the fourth dream for myself and for those two. You haven't shared a dream with us before. Is this your first experience with this, or is this something that is common to you? I can't remember if she had a dream before. I'm rolling with the fact that she didn't.
Audie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you think about that, and you do remember last time you guys had dream vision that Audie and Virgil both had dreams as well.
Right. Okay. So never mind. Did you two happen to be dreaming before this?
They both reply in unison, yes.
And I just kind of like do a hand motion. Okay.
So
Like,
Audie
listen.
starts.
Fucking Audie, man.
I found myself in the presence of two elves. Actually, I know where it was based on the context. I was on the island of the Grey Orcs to the far north.
As Audie speaks, I pull a chair, I sit down on it, and I just do I have a sheet of paper by chance?
They look around the bar and you don't see any papers.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, you're not going to bring it with you when we get out of this dream.
That's fair. We just need to start keeping track of this. Obviously, something is happening.
There's so much stuff. If only there was a way we could keep track of stuff. I say as I go to my notes folder as a player.
So Addie continues. Yes, I was on the Grey Orc Island, which I know through the context of, it was a prison full of prisoners being ferried around the common grounds, so to speak. And on this island, or in this prison yard, I was in the presence of two elves, which are very unusual in that place. But through my investigation, I deduced that one was a shapeshifter, while the other was being mind-controlled. And to be honest, I can't make heads or tails of it. Virgil then pipes up. Actually, I found myself in a cave with Billy.
You can hear the entire group.
Is he dead? Tell me he was dead.
He wasn't dead, but he was actually being tortured.
Oh?
It was quite the gruesome sight. He seemed to be captured by a group of gnomes, deep gnomes, in fact, and they were torturing him while asking him what he knew about you and I, Caitlin, but they seemed to know us by name.
Okay.
Fire Baggins.
Yeah, very Gollum-esque. I'm thinking of, like, Caitlin has never wished Billy well, but now that she knows he's actually suffering, like, it's kind of like that moment of, oh, and she's kind of uncomfortable about the idea. But wait, if they were torturing him about information about us, wait, you said deep gnomes were doing this.
He nods, and with a concerned look.
Would that mean he could be somewhere near to this city by any chance?
He sort of nods and speaks up. That is what I deduced as well.
Well, he's here, then that means okay, everyone, I know we all promised that we're going to get everybody back from Windswept back to the village, and credit Billy McMurray knows his way around a fight. He's, a capable fellow, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but I guess before we go after everybody else, one of the things we can do while we're here in this city is find Billy McMurray and get him out of trouble.
You could see my eyebrow twitch a little bit. Then I was like, as much as I cannot stand that foul person, we can't let him get tortured.
I agree.
Virgil pipes up again. Yes, also, I have to add the fact that he withstood the torturing and did not tell them anything about us.
Of course he didn't. Way to play to our guilt, Billy McMurray, you piece of shit.
Frustrated, Norrin says, "When in Rome?" And I turned. Do you have any of these mushroom brews I can try?
Yeah, my dude. So as Sesher passes over mushroom tea, I suppose, you feel somebody actually rest a hand on your back, and you quickly turn around, and it's Carol Zillaru.
Hey. Oh my gosh, it's been some time. How are you, sir?
Greetings, companions. It has indeed been a while. I'm glad to have found your dream vision, well, it seems I've been quite the distance from you for some time, but now I'm close enough that I can peer into your dreams.
Do you know how you did that? Is this something you could access again?
He looks at you with a smug smile. Yes, I am Carol Dream Petal Zillaru.
Just thinking like, oh my god, you have to drag everything out of everyone. Anything you could teach us.
Anything you can tell us about how to do specific dreams and to be able to go to certain places and all that.
Friends, this is a skill you don't learn. You're simply born with it. And he looks at the five of you, actually, and he continues. Actually, the reason why you can even traipse among the dreams are your proximity to me on a previous meeting. And you are all kind of simultaneously put your palms to your forehead.
Can I do a sneaky thing and pull a hair out? Would that still transfer over if we keep that on us?
Like one of his hairs?
Yeah, it's just would that still count as proximity?
So even though he's staring, let's say he's staring directly at Sidge.
Yeah.
You slowly reach over and he just swats your hand without even looking at you.
Clearly, it's not the first time someone's tried that.
Jarl, there is something we need to tell you about. We know where the rest of the captives are, the ones we've been looking for. And I'm going to give him the location of where the skiff is.
Oh, that's excellent. Well,
so right now
Well, that's actually good news that you have figured that out. I just came here to tell you that Alisaria and I we've arrived on the Horns and have met up with the rest of the group.
How's everyone doing?
Everyone is fine. The Goblin City ship is nearly repaired, but I regret to inform you that we have spoken to many travelers since our arrival, and it seems that, as far as we can tell, all of the travelers so far have not been able to traverse the caves to or from the Mantle Ward, which it is my understanding you have now is the area that you have headed towards.
What you're saying is we're on our own down
here. He sort of nods, but he kind of has maybe sort of gesture. I guess a nod and head tilt at the same time. And as he says that, Alisaria also appears right beside Carol. And he looks over. He's like, yes, I was wondering when you would make it here. So Alisaria pipes up now. There's actually an old disused lift that used to connect the Mantle Ward to the drow city of Lower Caligula, as well as the dwarven city that lies between the two.
Sorry, could you back up and say that one more time, please?
There is actually a disused lift which used to connect the Mantle Ward to the city of Lower Caligula, the drow city of Lower Caligula, as well as the dwarven settlement that lies between the two.
Right?
So unfortunately, it's disused because it no longer functions. But it is my understanding that most of the mechanical components were originally housed in the Mantle Ward. So should you be able to get it functional again, you may be able to leave the Mantle Ward.
It's an easy way out. That's convenient also.
She nods. If you can get it working.
Something to consider. We also know that one of the people that that was taken from us, he's currently being tortured near the city, and he hasn't said anything yet despite that, but that's the thing about torture. Everybody breaks eventually, so we gotta find him.
Both Carol and Alisaria have concerned looks while one of your other companions appears. It's Drac.
It's a Christmas special.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Like everybody's hey, it's like everybody's coming into this dream.
Yeah, I've been getting these weird dreams lately, and I heard Carol told me it had something to do with coming into contact with him.
Uh-huh.
So I guess we're all in this together, so to speak.
Well, clearly, this person knows. I forget his name. Carol is the reason we are able to do this. Is there something you could teach us to make this more common, to give us more experience on how to handle this? This is the first time I see you guys all in a long time. This should be something we should be able to do.
Well, Norin, Carol speaks up. Your proximity to me is what allows us to all share the same dream.
Yes, he mentioned that. Is there anything else we could...
Because I have arrived on the Horns, and you are all closer to one another, we're all able to come into this dreamscape together.
We should go talk to the people by the piano, too. We've been completely ignored the right half of this room.
So you're... Sorry, Chris?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the lot of you make your way over to the other half of the room.
I'm annoyed with Carol. Like, I should just go hang out with the dragon. You guys deal with this shit.
Yeah, so what do you want to do?
That music change was perfect. Oh my god.
We're going to head over to the other side of the room where these folks are gathered. There seems to be a dwarf at the piano, and I believe that's somebody a bit familiar over there as well.
Yeah, so you guys you guys see Luna Shellick. Shellick is the UNT who kind of joined your party in the city. Luna was the character played by Rising when he was able to play. And the dwarf was the friend of, what's his name? Jazgath Abath, who was frozen and killed. So what do you want to do?
Anything to tell us, you guys? Why are you here? Tell us. Clearly, you're in a dream. What are you dreaming? Where are you from? What happened?
So Luna, as she's playing the lute, sort of looks over at you, Norin, and she's just like, What do you mean? We're just playing a song.
Musicians. Well, what about before this? I mean, clearly, where did you come from? How did you get here?
I came from I came from Eshel Sestu, and I just fancied coming in for a drink and decided to ply my trade.
So you can come here, you can come and go as you please?
Yeah, it's a bar.
In the middle of the void of whiteness, what do you mean you can come and go?
Void
How
of
did you get into this bar specifically?
I just walked down the street and went through the door.
Just lean into you, and I just say, she doesn't now.
Well, where? What street? What place? What town?
Because
Ash-
this is how a dream works. This is how a dream works. Wherever somebody is, no one remembers how they got there exactly. They just found themselves there.
But I'm curious. Maybe find our way back here at some point.
Well, it's the city of Eshel Sestu.
Right.
But look, Luna, you're in a dream right now. Okay, we're all dreaming. So the fact is that none of this is real, and we're trying to help you remember that, so that basically this is just something that happens on the Cloudsea. Share dreams sometimes. Like when you find us in the waking world, we'll all remember this.
So as you reason with Luna, she just suddenly vanishes.
Oh God, damn it!
I'm going to the dragon. I just get up and just walk to the dragon. I just sit. And drink that cup that I never drank from, the tea, and just sit by the fucking dragon. You guys deal with this shit.
Carol's just chuckling at how he's actually quite amused by
I'm glad someone's having a good
all
time.
of you back and forth.
Anything to add, Carol? Clearly, this is something of your expertise. What can you tell us about the situation? Surely there's more for us to know.
Yes. Well, Norin, some of these folk are just regular folk having dreams. Yes, this dream is a shared dreamscape, which is unusual, but to them, it's simply a dream. To us, it is much more lucid, and well, we have a sense of awareness as if we're awake. They do not. Your friend who disappeared over here, well, she woke up. Tutorial ended.
Well, all right then. But the fellow who was the dwarven fellow. What'd you say his name?
Devlin.
Devlin. How about you, Devlin? Is this a dream for you too, or do you remember anything that happened before this?
Aye, lass. Life is but a dream when you're having such a pleasurable moment with friends. And then he looks over his shoulder.
Dreaming too.
It's like, hey, where did the musical lass go?
I don't know. She went off somewhere else. Never makes sense to you. Yeah, like England is becoming increasingly done with this situation. No thanks in part to Carol and his flippant attitude.
Okay, friends, let's discuss what we're going to do next before
Thank you. Yes.
before the dream fades.
Yes. Let's make use of it. So, what's our plan? What's the strategy?
So, we haven't heard from Pitgazer or Urus yet. I am going to go look for them, so the lot of us can all figure out how to get your siblings and the other townspeople back to safety. Meanwhile, I suggest Alisaria and Drac try to do what they can to get the lift working from our end of the horns. As for you, I would suggest you do the same as you can from the mantle ward.
find the end of the list that's near the men's ward, get it operational so that we can get everything.
Yes, and whatever townspeople may be in the Mountain Ward, perhaps you could find them as well. They might be able to, aside from needing to save them, that is, they might be able to give more information about your sisters, or the other townspeople who have been captured.
And then Billy McMurray gets them, and he can help us out.
What was that? You
Yeah, you might have to disconnect your mic and reconnect again.
So,
Ooh, that's worse.
now can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Good, okay. So, all right, we find Billy McMurray, we save him from being tortured, we get information out of him, and then we bring him along with us to help save everybody else. You got it.
All right. Anything else before, he starts to gesture that he's going to snap his fingers before I pull us out of this dream?
I think, how about you two? Is that everything we need to think of right now?
Norin and Sige?
Oh yeah, no, I'm ready to leave this dream.
Okay.
Oh yeah, same.
So with that, Carol snaps his fingers, and you all, it doesn't fade to white. You just simply wake up, and you are back in your room in the Hunters Guild.
At this point, like, I just pinch myself really firmly to make sure that I'm actually awake and not in a third dream.
Yeah. You feel it, and you look around and you see the companions, so to speak, who weren't in the dream are also among you. So the baby dragon and the chameleon. Shellick, just to the south of you, is still fast asleep.
Right. Oh. Sorry, I just need to.
Well, the first thing I do is go scratch the baby dragon around the ear.
Actually,
Yeah.
you go to scratch the baby dragon, and you notice that it seems a little bit bigger than the day before.
Of course it does. It's going to be huge soon.
But it kind of purrs itself to wakefulness. Wow.
I just sit after all this nonsense. I just kind of sit and just have a moment with myself and just play with the dragon for a little bit.
As you're playing with it, it goes, no.
It says what?
It goes,
What?
no.
I look over and I get fully out of bed and I pick up the chameleon and I head over. Hey,
The chameleon. I forgot about the chameleon.
hey, could you say that one more time?
He looks at it looks at Norin and it goes, no.
My God, it's going to learn how to talk.
And then it looks at you and goes, cat.
Oh, he's learning our name. Oh, that's so cute.
At the commotion, Shellick
I think we just won.
At the commotion, Shellick kind of wrestles awake, and her eyes immediately widen as she scurries over. Oh my goodness, this dragon is learning to speak.
Yeah, Billy can wait.
Is this something all dragons learn how to do?
She nods emphatically. Yes, in fact, gold dragons are particularly intelligent, so they learn very quickly.
impressive then. So I guess we're gonna have to teach this little guy words as we go along then.
She sort of nods, and then she chuckles. You might not even need to teach it. It is going to become, well, more intelligent than any of us, so to speak.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, I guess we're gonna make sure to, same as it's always been, keep an eye out for this little fella, but just make sure he doesn't learn any naughty words along the way. Well, at his age, anyway.
So it kind of uncurls rather from its perch and stretches out over the carpet. But it's standing, and everybody's just like, "Aw." But yeah, so that just happened.
I'm concerned with nothing else.
Sidge, Doran, you both remember what just happened in the dream, right?
I do. I just quickly, in a very impatient kind of way, just recount what we just went through.
Right, then, yeah, you both remember it as well. Okay. Well, this changes a few things. It sounds like we've got a plan in place. We have to find the other end of the lift down here so that we can get up to the surface as quickly as possible. And we also have to find Billy McMurray as well.
I agree.
So Shellick is just like, doesn't have any idea what you guys are talking about, but she just sort of opens the door and she's like, well, I'm starving, so I'm going to go out to get some food. And she leaves without you guys.
Honestly, I think breakfast sounds like a good first step to starting off the day and figuring out what to do next.
Outside of dialogue, come to think, when was the last time we actually ate anything?
Yeah, I think the day before you ate some crickets or something.
Yeah, we definitely had crickets. That was what we ate before we went to bed.
And the chameleon was very happy with that choice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're going to say Audie and Virgil go out ahead of you guys, but nevertheless, you three and the two animals in your group are going to take up the rear. So you guys go out of the room and into the Hunter's Guild proper, and it is bustling. There are a lot of people inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Virgil's already taken a seat at the bar next to, well, actually, what's everybody's passive perception?
Mine?
Question.
I know Norin's is 17.
Yeah.
10.
And then Caitlin, or Chris, you had a question?
My passive perception is 20.
Okay. So this is determining what you notice of the people inside. Caitlin, first of all, you notice Virgil has sat next to a really tall and muscular, handsome-looking samurai, I guess. And they are sitting across from a red-headed woman who actually you think you recognize, and you sort of snap your fingers as you put face to or name to face, and you recognize that as Jillian O'Shea, who used to be Virgil's classmate. She's around the same age as Virgil, but she left the Cloudsea after Windswept after finishing school. So clearly, this is where she ended up.
Hey, and besides her, anybody else of note around here?
Yeah, so you do look over to farther across the way. You see Audie next to a cloaked figure. As you're sort of peering towards them, you notice the guy's eyes are similar to Audie's in that they are glowing eyes with no visible pupils. Otherwise, you see 2 groups of 4 at the tables in the center of the room, and a whole bunch of staff, as well as there seems to be a hunter checking in at the front desk. But there's a pretty interesting mix of races. Norin, you notice the group of elves, 4 high elves, who you recognize as high elves because they're a little bit taller than wood elves with fairer skin. Next to them, you see a group of 3 deep gnomes, as well as a woman of... Well, you kind of think she looks like a gray orc, but she's unusually short. So you're not quite sure. Then the staff, you notice there are, aside from Jillian, there is another bartender who is a bird folk, Aarakocra. And there is also a halfling who seems to be the waiter, and he's bringing some food over to the elven table, while the fence, for the day shift, I guess, is a half-elf woman. But yeah, this is brunch time or breakfast at the Hunters Guild.
Hey. I actually see somebody I know down there. I'm gonna go check in with her. You two. How about you? You see anybody interesting? Anyone that's caught your eye?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious the high elves. I feel like they might have something to say. And that
Right.
blue person over there looks kind of interesting.
Say that, yeah. The person I know, she might have some information about the city, so I'm gonna check in with her, see if she's got any info that could help us.
Okay. So you, Caitlin, make your way over to Jillian. Do you guys want to follow her?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you all follow the very strange company. So Jillian looks at you immediately, Caitlin, with knowing eyes, and sort of in the same stance as her photo, standing cross-armed with a smirk. She's like, well, isn't that a sight for sore eyes?
Jillian, how you been?
Oh, I've been grand, young Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin.
Not so young anymore.
I should say so. You look like you're doing very well for yourself.
Aye, lass. I came here and joined the Hunters Guild here, and she gestures to the bar. Well, I've taken a liking to this space, and, well, I'm one of the barkeeps here now.
I imagine that a job like this, you've learned quite a bit about the city and all that.
Yes, troubling times as of late.
I've been hearing about everything that's been going on. I'm so sorry this has been happening.
So as you guys are talking, she's kind of just catching you up with, yeah, the city's frozen over and it kind of sucks. We're in martial law and don't really know what's going on. The halfling waiter sneaks in between you guys and he hands Virgil a plate of scrambled eggs.
Oh, right. Forget. What do you have on do you have a menu for breakfast or anything like that? We all just woke up and we need...
Jillian sort of laughs, and she's like, tell you what, Caitlin, I don't think the menu here is going to do you any good. There's not a lot of food for humans, but we do have scrambled diatrima eggs.
That'll work for me. Thank you.
So she waves to the halfling, who takes the order. Actually, Sage, you don't eat food the same way, so to speak. But Norin, would you like to have some diatrima eggs as well?
At this point, I need food. I don't even care what kind of food it is.
Okay, so you guys don't know what a diatrima is, but the scrambled eggs look pretty good as Virgil's kind of gulping them down. And you see the big dude next to him has a even larger plate of scrambled eggs. He's also human, so probably a safe way to go. So yeah, the halfling takes your order as well, Norin, and hands it off to the back of house. Jillian peers over the bar, and she's like looks over at you, Sage. I think we got some rocks free of charge for you, friend.
I wonder how much rocks cost.
Well, yeah, we'll say you actually ask that in character. And Jillian bursts out a laugh. Good joke. Plenty of rocks underground. But yeah. So with your food on the way, or your order in, I guess Jillian sort of continues. Well, I've heard tell that you might be able to get more stamps on your stamp card. She gestures hers, which actually you notice has a different set of stamps as yours. As you guys all look at your stamp card, which looks sort of like that.
Wait, city? What is this?
This is your city pass to get approved to go into different areas of the city, basically. So the city guards stamped the red and orange stamps, which allow you into the area you're in and the area near the gates.
Huh.
And this is what they've instituted since they put the city into martial law, basically.
Huh.
Yeah, so she gestures to her card, which has an orange and a blue stamp. You might be able to get some more stamps if you assist the city guard with some tasks. Or maybe you could even do some odd jobs around the Hunters Guild to learn more about the city as well.
Right? That sounds like an idea. So, where if there were any sort of jobs like that, do you know where they'd be posted, or to kind of just look around and find what you can?
You can ask the folk around here. Normally, we barkeeps have a few things that need to be done, which we have heard from various people who come and go from the guild. As it so happens, I do actually have a task for the guild proper, the proprietor of the Hunters Guild, rather. I did mention the diatrima eggs earlier. Unfortunately, one of our diatrima escaped from its holding pen, and we were unable to capture it. But we heard...
So it's out there in this... go ahead.
Yeah, we heard tell that it was seen outside of the city, so if you can find a way outside of the city and return the diatrima, we could possibly hand some gold in return.
That's an idea. One question. What's a diatrima?
She sort of giggles. I was waiting when you'd ask that.
Right.
So a diatrima is a large flightless bird, very large, in fact. But generally, we use them for their eggs, which here in the Hind Caves are very useful for us folk from Windswept who don't quite like to eat crickets and, well, seeds are all right, but they're not really that filling. So we like to eat the diatrima eggs.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with one of our diatrima missing, we can't make as many scrambled eggs as we currently can.
And with the city being in the state that it is right now, you need all the food you can get.
She raises her finger with a nod. Exactly.
Right. Okay, so we find the diatrima, we bring it back here for you.
Precisely. And for that, we can give... She sort of nods, looks over at actually the guy at the front desk with a gesture, sort of waving her hand, and he looks over at her as she gives a thumbs up, and he gives a thumbs up in return. Yes, well, I suppose we can, since I know you, we can give you the full reward for 20 gold pieces.
I look over at you two, see what you think of that sort of a price.
I just nod.
You kind of see Virgil's eyes bug out of his head at the mention of 20 gold pieces. 20 gold pieces for a bird?
Well, cash is cash, I'll say that.
All right. So you guys got your first side quest.
Right. Wonderful.
Would you like to talk to anybody else in the tavern?
I mean, let's just talk to everybody.
Who do you want to talk to first?
Let's see what's going on with the elves.
Okay. So, Norin, you've been watching the elves ever since you got there. And as you decide to introduce yourself, but as you make your way over, you think you actually sort of recognize these elves. And then you get a little bit like giddy as you realize these are the famed group of elven hunters known as the Seasons, which is a very gimmicky, almost like superhero kind of team of high elves. But each of them correspond to one of the four seasons.
Oh shoot! Actually, I need. Well, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll venture elsewhere.
Shit.
So, the seasons, huh?
Yeah. So I guess you
Right?
you make your way over as well, Caitlin and Sidge.
Uh-huh. Well, heading on over, I'll just, hey, greetings and salutations and all that. I hear that you folks are, you've made a bit of a name for yourselves. The Seasons was
As you're talking to them, of the four of them, three of them are female and one is male.
Got it?
Sort of the one just to the bottom of you. Oh my god, I'm trying to ping. There we go. You notice she's dressed in a sort of a feathered white coat. She has just pure white hair, sort of snowflake earrings. So you, knowing that these are the seasons, you intuit she corresponds to winter, but she speaks up, and you immediately get that she's sort of the leader of the group from the tone of authority in her voice. Aye, lass, She looks you up and down. Well, we are the Seasons. We're known as the Seasons. We come from the island of Timbershire, and we came here. We sort of do a tour of the Cloudsea every year, but it was the time of the year which we normally come to Mantleward, and unfortunately, the way out seems to be frozen, which honestly isn't really a problem for me. I am quite accustomed to colder temperatures. However, while we were here, we thought we might do some good for the city.
Well, it's good to have you folks around here. We're new to the city ourselves, but we've been seeing everything that's been on around here, and it's just a shame what's been happening. Hopefully things will get back to normal pretty soon.
She nods. She sort of squints. I don't think I recognize you as members of the Hunters Guild.
We're new additions. My name's Caitlin McCready. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. And these are my friends, Sige and Norin.
She nods and offers your hand, her hand in a handshake gesture.
I'd shake it.
And she sort of introduces herself formally. My full name is Gelfin Wintersong.
Well, Miss Gelfin, pleasure to make your acquaintance. In regards to your group and what you're up to and stuff like that, is there... Well, I mean, you know that there are things going on at the moment. We're actually looking for a bit of work right now, if you've heard any rumors or anything we might be able to help y'all with.
Well, we have been assisting with the Watchers of the Core who have dissolved. Nevertheless, we were able to save a couple of their members from sure death when a black-armored drow seemingly attacked them without any reason.
Black-armored drow, we've heard of this fellow.
Yes, well, we were able to repel him in short order and rescue two of the members of the Watchers, as well as, the rest seem to have either disbanded or been slayed. But we've been assisting them with rebuilding their base of operations, so to speak.
That's something. This black armor drow, what can you, like, given he's been attacking people, did you notice anything about him that, if we were to run into him, anything you can tell us that'll give us a heads up?
She gives a sort of uneasy frown at that. Well, I would say he bears a very unusual likeness to the former leader of the Watchers, who hasn't been seen in several days. He looks almost identical to Jazgath Abath, save for he has red eyes instead of lavender.
And I look over to Sige at this.
And Sige, do you want to say anything?
It's almost like he's in a dream. I say it kind of jokingly just to kind of prod to see if any other people have been experiencing this. Not asking a question, but just kind of like wordplay. Like
Everybody just kind of looks at you with like a confused look.
I'm used to it. It's pretty.
Is that a gnome? That purple thing?
Yep. That is the sort of the gnome who's well, this desk is like the front desk for people checking in, basically. So he's like the person manning the front desk, but he is a gnome.
Is there anyone here that I might know or look familiar?
I will say, actually, you do recognize the 3 gnomes at the other table, but you don't recognize the 4th person in the group. You recognize these 3 gnomes as gnomish members of the Hunters Guild who are well known in this city. And they are they're sort of known as the 3 friends. Sort of like the 3 musketeers. But yeah, they're kind of the gnomish equivalent of the group at the other table.
Are they the blue ones?
Yeah.
The blue man group.
Yeah, and then you notice the 4th person at the table who has gray skin. You don't really recognize her.
Mm-hmm.
Sage, and I take kind of like step aside from the group for a moment, and I go over to you. It sounds like the person who's been attacking everybody is identical to, Jazz, who I give you a bit of a pained expression because I all know what happened to Jazz, but I don't exactly want to say it out loud. Know how important he was to you. It sounds like we might need to find this fellow and just figure out what's going on, maybe?
I'm gonna go up to the group that was talking about him and say, were there any spiders with him?
Yeah, to that she sort of shakes her head. As far as I could tell, well, when we arrived, he was alone. The witnesses who survived also said he attacked alone.
I'm trying to remember
Well,
what else was in that dream.
I think it's only fair that we should tell you something, and I let them know about Jazz and the fact that we were traveling with him for a while and that he unfortunately met his fate at the hands of the dragon.
Well, this is grave news. We haven't heard of a dragon nor of the slaying of Jazz. This is terrible news for the entire region.
I agree. But what I'm curious about is if Jazz is gone, then who is this person who looks so identical to him?
They sort of just shrug. Well, he certainly wasn't Jazz, but his resemblance was too uncanny to be a coincidence.
Can I make a religion check
Yeah, sure.
to see if there's any mention of a creepy crawly god or goddess?
Yep.
Okay, it does that shit again. God damn it. I'm just gonna do the whole.
Just do a D20 plus 3. Or we'll say you can even do it with advantage.
Okay. 14 plus 3, so 17.
Okay. So you sort of, I guess you think about things that Jazz explained to you, and you do remember he did mention that he came from a place other than the Cloudsea, and his people did worship a spider god or a spider deity.
Does did Jazz have a home by any chance near the Watchers district?
So you recall he lived at the Watcher's compound, where he did have a sort of like, I guess, a master bedroom sort of set up behind, at the back of the compound, rather. And most of the rest of you slept in bunkhouses on the compound.
Mm,
Who are those two off on the right side? They're sitting there a little unsuspecting.
Over here.
Bottom right.
Oh, bottom right. So this
Yeah.
this guy is the guy manning the front desk that brings people into.
Oh, that's the entrance
Yeah.
right there?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And this dude is a halfling who,
He does his best. Don't call him.
I don't know, he's kind of having a conversation with the guy.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was a table or if that, okay, that makes more sense. Oh, I see the door now. I'm actually kind of curious of the hunters. Like, so they're pretty established.
Yeah, so
Like, how long? Like, wasn't everything peaceful until the shenanigans started happening?
basically through context, the hunters sort of, they hunt large game, and
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
yep. So normally, like, they are focused on that, but I guess with all the weird goings on, they're one of the more reliable groups of people for, like, fending off attacks and weird
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
because they have
So-
training.
So, considering how wonky things have been for all of us in dreams and not trying to give anything away, everything seems to be very animal based. And so I once again turn over to the hunters and be like, so any just try to prod a little bit. Any interesting game? Anything out of the usual? Any fun stories or something that kind of caught your fancy? I know, Echo. I'm curious too.
Why, yes. Winter speaks up again. Gelfin Winter Song. Actually, yes. We took note that several predators have been seen all over our travels over the last few days, which, unfortunately, we don't know much about. There have never been predators on the Cloudsea. So it's been quite perplexing.
I'm confused. Isn't the Cloudsea everything, or is there lands outside the Cloudsea?
So, if we go back to all the travels so far, basically there are different realms, and the
Right.
Cloudsea is a realm, a young realm, which now seems to be being invaded by people of other planes and other worlds.
Right. Okay. Well, let's say but there's no like realm hopping, so I'm just kind of curious. Like, what were they hunting before?
Like big game, like elk or boar, like just large
Okay.
things that people hunt. elephants, like whatever.
Elephants? Good God.
Just,
Okay.
yeah.
I know. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah,
So
like
I'm still just trying to.
they sort of hunt things for materials like hide, ivory, bone, like all the stuff people need to craft stuff.
People that kind of hope you have insurance kind of people, right?
Yeah. They're monster hunters. Well, actually there haven't been monsters until recently.
I just keep trying to poke around with questions and see if like they've just like if there's anything like I keep asking about more and more like hunting stories and like strange or maybe abnormal creatures because I'm trying to gather if there's other areas affected that we should maybe go explore once we seem to get out of wherever we're stuck at. Like just trying to see how widespread everything is. Just trying to gauge some information.
Yes, actually, the other day, on our travels to the Mantle Ward, we came in conflict with sort of like a black ooze of some sort. Like
You can
almost,
feel our entire group just
Yeah.
shudder at that.
Yeah.
almost like sentient pudding.
Ugh.
I just say to my breath, I know what you mean. Where did you see the black ooze specifically? We've encountered those before.
Yes, it almost ambushed us as we were making our way down one of the caves on the way here.
How would you guys fare against it?
The one just below you, Norin, with red hair, sort of speaks up. I noticed it. Well, it seemed to be more weak to magical attacks, so we were able to dispense with it in short order after we realized that.
You didn't use daggers?
Oh, to be honest, I couldn't think of touching the thing.
That hurts. It hurts. Oh, excuse me.
So, do you guys want to ask them anything else or ask anybody anything else? Or do you want to leave?
I think it'd be a good idea to maybe get started on some of these rumors we've heard and maybe investigate a few things. Actually, I head back over to the seasons and I speak with them. By the way, that group that you mentioned that attacked you all, or the group you helped out that were attacked by the black armored drow, where would you say that was exactly? Like which district?
Yes, they were in the Drow ward.
Right?
And you see that corresponds with the purple stamp on your card.
Huh. Can we go there right now, or do we have to?
So you can't go there by using your stamp card, but if you wanted to try sneaking that way, sneaking by the city yard, you could possibly do it.
Okay. Well, right. Well, in that case, I'll keep that in mind, but I'll turn to you both and I'll say, all right, so we got to figure out what exactly we're getting started with and what to do. I say finding that diatrima would be a possible way to start. Get things off on the right foot, get a bit of money, start to look around the city, maybe find some other stuff.
I think that's a good idea. We've been sitting still, and we should have some urgency in what we need to be doing.
Right. Times of the essence, we gotta get started on some stuff so that we can. Basically, our goal is this: we've got to find Billy McMurray. We've got to find a lift that'll get us back up to the surface. Any information that leads us to one or both of them is important. We don't know where to go to get that information. So for now, I think all we can do is just try to do some other stuff in the meantime and pick up information along the way.
Okay, so you guys gather up your party, including your friends Audie and Virgil. And we'll say you guys decide maybe it would be safer to leave the baby dragon and chameleon with Jillian, since they, if you run into trouble, they might be at risk.
You do not bring your pets on the job.
Yeah. At least not until they're big enough to eat somebody. So, you gather Virgil and Audie up. You realize now that Shellick actually isn't here anymore, so I guess she went off on her own for whatever reason. But the 5 of you gather up, and I will ask you out of character if you guys want to continue going, or if you want to wrap up the session.
I'm fairly tired. I need coffee and to eat something at the moment.
I do need to get a bite in my system, and I have a few things that I need to get organized before meeting up with my family tomorrow for Christmas Eve.
Sweet. So we'll call it a session then, and we will likely continue this in the new year.
Yay! Well, I'm glad we were able to do this today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was running around right before.
Go ahead.
No, so I was just running around before. So I got up much earlier than usual today. Which is only 1 o'clock, but for me that's really early. And then I got home about like 20 minutes before this started. I haven't really had a chance to eat or do anything sustenance wise.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Get something in your system, bud.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wrap up in that case.
Hey, thank you so much for running Void. Much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first session you didn't almost kill us.
It's nice. That's appreciated.
It is nice. It was a nice break. Nice holiday break.
Yeah. All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Everybody.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.